We are in Guerrilla Warfare, Part 3 of 4, in the pages of Green Lantern, issue 31. And I'm glad to finally be able to go over this with y'all. I talked about when we started this series that the comic shops that would pop up and disappear throughout the years in my small town, you know, they'd be there for like maybe a month or two, and then they just disappear. And there was one, and God, it was so cool. Like, you would go in, and usually there's the back bins that you dig through. These had like the big walls that you'd see like at Hastings, for those of you that remember Hastings, which I thoroughly miss, but like shelves you'd see at a bookstore, and that's what they had them on. And it was just a neat little way that you could just walk through it. It was very peaceful from what I remember. Anyway, the only book that I could find, or at least jumped out to me, was the last part of this, which we will go over later. And seeing our heroes like this, I was like, what's going on? And so from a little kid up until now, I'd never gotten to read the entirety of Guerrilla Warfare. So this is exciting for me to finally be able to go over the entire series with you all. And I love how it says, a return to all that made DC great, from Gerard Jones writer Mark Waid, plot assisting, MD Bright doing the penciling, Romeo Tanghal doing the inks, Albert DeGuzman doing the lettering, and Anthony Tollin doing the colorist. Dedicated to the Sultan of Silver Age scribes, John Broome. Now, if memory serves correctly, John Broome is the creator of this iteration of Green Lantern. Not Alan Scott, but Hal Jordan. Print date on this was October 1992. We left off last issue. Our heroes were surrounded by the Grodd's minions. And it says, for the glory of Grodd, for the glory of Gorilla City, kill the humans, kill the humans. And this is subplotted, or subtitled, should I say, Gone Ape. And what I liked particularly, the way that this built up, is in the pages of Green Lantern, he's being lured here following the Flash. And then the Flash is kind of lured here by Gorilla Grodd, but he ends up being shanghaied by Hector, Hammond, basically making Hammond run him across the Atlantic, which was kind of interesting to see how our heroes, their villains, kind of in a sense reverse. So now we finally get to see Hal Jordan teaming up with Wally West. And at this point in history, Hal is still reluctant with Wally because he's used to Barry, and Wally's still having to prove himself to a degree. Well, Flash, guess we'll have to fill each other in later. As to why we're both in the darkest Africa, you mean? Sounds reasonable. At least until we get this guerrilla army wrapped up. And they actually work really well together. Until, of course, Hammond. Ugh. Did you think you'd seen the last of me, Flash? Which was last issue 69. Pure wishful thinking, Hammond. But if you insist on being humiliated again, I'll gladly. Well played, my spindly-limbed ally. And essentially, why are these two teaming up? If you guys have not been following along, spoilers are going to abound. So make sure to pause this video, go check out the first two issues, and then come back and also support your local library. Well, that too, but your local comic shop, and get this series. And you're back. Hector and Grodd realize that the meteorite that turned Hammond into the bulbous head villain that he is, that's super intelligent, is the same asteroids that made the gorillas, like basically super evolved them and created Gorilla City. So now they're both working together because they've found another piece of the meteorite. And I was a little disappointed. I thought this dog was Crypto at first, but he's part of like this pet detective agency, which is run by Detective Chimp, which is an interesting addition to this series. And the artwork, absolutely fantastic. And I love the way how, when you go through the plot, we see Hammond and Grodd working together, and they're complimenting each other. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about in Transformers G.I. Joe, where we see the Decepticons talking to the Cobra. And, you know, they're giving each other platitudes, but we get the thought bubbles, which I still miss in modern comics. But they're just like, Hammond, you dare? I can't let you waste your time battling that cur while Flash and Green Lantern may be rallying their strength. So allow me to use that telekinetic powers I have to carry you in my wake and carry on our grand scheme. And I just love Grodd's face here. Yes, our grand scheme. And essentially, if you just really pay attention to the visual storytelling, you don't have to tell that something is amiss. And then we get The backstory saying, apparently landing in these jungles and evolving your forebears into super apes. The other lying undiscovered in rural California until I chanced upon it. And built our magnificent gorilla city in the forest, someday to be the capital of the world. How impressive, Grodd. And to think, I contented myself with mastering the evolutionary ray. For such trifling achievements as devolving Green Lantern into a Neanderthal. I am not without weapons either, Hammond, as flesh can attest. And, at least I never enlarged my head or rendered my glorious body useless by misusing the power. And then just these eyeballs, the close-up, that scheming in Grodd's eyes. You could not misuse it, Grodd, because you do not know how to use it, which is why you need me. Creatures of the same origin. Indeed, of course. My race had a century to develop. While you, my dear Hector Hammond, could never find the fabled third meteor, which is why you need me. And it's just a nice little way to start setting everything up. And then, of course, we get the subplot with Grodd. Or not Grodd, what's his name? Bobo, Detective Chimp. You're in a melancholy way, Bobo. Maybe we need a vacation back to Oslanda County to snap you out of it. Maybe. Or maybe I need a business trip. Like to Africa, maybe. And I don't know a whole lot about Detective Chimp. So whenever I see him, it's kind of interesting, but in the same way, it's just like, oh, a talking animal. Like the only real talking animal that I can get excited about is Rocket. But I digress. And now when we think that our heroes are going to be able to beat these two treacherous villains, they, of course, are taken down. So we get that dun, dun, dun. And, of course, these two find the third meteor. And right around it in this beautiful splash page. I mean, look at the colors, the old school traditional art styles. The meteor! At last we may have snapped our own meteors through overuse. But this one, untouched by all time, by these lowly animals, fairly throbs with power. And with the power we will conquer the realms of humans and animals alike. Of course, my brawny comrade. Of course we will. And I just love how all the animals kind of have like this mutated look about them, especially this, I'm assuming it was a tiger at one time, but it's just very trippy. I'm waiting to see the three-eyed fish from The Simpsons. Now, as our heroes decide to try to go at them again, they realize what the two are after. It looks like something Hammond would make with his evolving ray. And there's a whole area full of plants and bugs and critters, even weirder than this. That's our target then. Danny, if you meet trouble, ring this. It'll alert my ring. As for you, Rex, it's doggy basket time. Flash! I know. Lead on. And then we see how powerful each side here is. And I love the little evil plants like, nah, nah. But I mean, look at this. This use of power. Good of him to telegraph that. Now I can take the offensive. Deflect Hammond's mental waves and cut straight through it. Grodd. What? Grodd has enormous power of mind. But he isn't throwing it at me. He's parrying my force. Why? Hammond, he's too strong. You must draw mentally upon the power of the meteor itself. Of course, Grodd. If you insist. And things reverse. The radiation, what's happening? Grodd, you did this. Come to me, my throne. And looking at Grodd like this, that's something to behold. Come to your master, the new master of mine. Ah, Hammond, you arrogant, hairless, evolutionary cul-de-sac. While you plotted schemes to betray me, I probed your mind to see how the meteor could be controlled and tricked you into thinking I did not envy your enormous brain, and then manipulated into overloading the meteor and taking the backlash yourself. I said this was a gift for those worthy to receive it, and only one is so worthy. Grodd, the king of apes, and the next lord of the earth. And then we leave on a cliffhanger as we see that our heroes don't exactly look like they're in the best of form. Lots to go through in this book, guys, and to just watch how the double cross happens throughout the entire plot. It's really interesting as you watch the facial expressions, which, as I always say, comics are a visual medium, and the narration is just there to help enhance it. And that's exactly what you get in the pages of Green Lantern issue 31. So if you've enjoyed what you see, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever you get your action figures and comics, and pick up this series. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate it. Take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Speed Force bell, next subscribe. That was when we get to upload content. You guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.